Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today on Navigating BrickLink, I'm going to show you specifically the settings here for your store page. This is not your BrickLink settings. This is your specifically store settings. And we'll get into most of what we do here, but not all of them. We'll go over shipping in another video. So to begin, if you click that My Settings or Settings button here under the My Store tab, you'll start and be brought to this page, which starts here on the left side with Display. Now this is the appearance of your store, and it's gonna change what customers see. So specifically, here is your name, and this is the name of your store. So when someone goes to this top search bar, clicks the drop down, clicks Store Name, and types in this case, Just a Brick in the Bucket, My Store will pop up. Now as you can see, you have 26 characters for this. I take up all 26 characters, but you can be as short as 3 up to 26. Now the slogan is shown on your store at another page, which I'll show you actually right now. We can go ahead and go over to my store, and you can see down here underneath the title of the store is the little slogan, and ours is Where Any Brick is Just a Click Away. Next, you can change your logo of the store. By clicking Choose File, you'll be able to drag in a logo that you make on your computer. Now, you need to note here that the file page or the file size should be 72 pixels by 72 pixels in PNG format. Now, 72 pixels is not very large, but for the store size, as you can see up here, it does the trick, though it is slightly lower resolution. Now, next what you get to choose is your store colors. So in this case, I choose the text color to be white and the background color to be blue. And that's just personally because I like the look of red and blue. And you can see the announcement here is red and the banner is also red. So the red and blue looks good. And you want to make sure when you pick a background color that if you were to pick black, you cannot have black text. You need to have white text. Or if you were picking a white background color, you need to make sure you have a text color that you can read on top of that. So if you look at our page here, you can see that we have white text over this blue background here. Now this next section is for announcements. So in our case right now we are having a sale where most of our store is 20% off. And we also want to announce that we have same-day shipping on most orders. You can see you can have up to 80 characters in this field, and you can do all caps, you can do different characters and stuff. The only thing here is if you add 10 spaces, those 10 spaces count as characters, though they do not show up here. So if I were to put 10 spaces in between huge sale and all parts, there would still only be a single space there. So keep that in mind. If you double space between sentences or between things, it'll take up a character in your count, but it will not actually change the size up here. Again, you have text color and background color that you're able to change here. Personally, I'm a fan of the red. Same here with the banner. And text color I like to keep white, but this is totally your personal preference. Just make sure it's legible. You don't want to do a bright green color here with a bright yellow text color here. It'll be very hard to read, and most people might look at your store and potentially turn away. You need to remember that this display page is the appearance of your store, and it is what most people see when they first get to your store. If it doesn't look friendly, they may not want to stay at your store and shop with you. The banner here is very similar to the announcement, and if we go back to our store, you can see once someone clicks the shop tab, the banner pops up here. And this banner is on all pages of, well, I thought it was. Okay, it is on all pages except for the featured page. So if they're scrolling through pieces, you can see that pops up here at the top. And for the most part, at least for what we do, is very similar to the same message here. In our case, we just mentioned huge sale, all parts 20% off. And again, we like to stick with the consistent colors. Now, if you would like to, you can click the Preview Storefront button, and you can see it'll give you a preview of everything that's here. You can see your banner that you have here, your announcement, your colors, your text colors, your slogan, your name, and your logo. Click that little X in the top right to get out of there. And that's about it for the appearance page. The next part is where you choose your buyer, or where you choose for your buyer to see when they land on your page, what you want them to see. So in our case, we start with the splash page, which is this page here. At the moment, it is coded in HTML and it's a little messed up, so this is supposed to be larger, this is supposed to be up next to it. It's supposed to be centered and we're supposed to have all these titles. At this exact moment, our code is messed up, so I need to go fix that before, well, I should fix that right after I make this video. But in our case, we have this page here, and this is what they see. So when they come to this page, you can see we have our title, our little slogan, and a description of our store. Then we have kind of our terms, our payment, our shipping, our quality and condition of each item, our returns, and insurance. I don't know where the bottom for insurance is there. Not good. But you can also pick a couple other options. You can have featured groups, which are down here, and we'll get to in just a minute, if you want to show off specific items that you want to feature to your buyers right when they get to your store. And you can also show your terms page. So the terms page is a tab here on your store that you also get to type out, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But if you would like to, this can be the first page that the buyers come to on your store. It is similar to a splash page in terms of you're able to type what you want in there. The difference here is it is specifically labeled terms or store terms and conditions. And those are the three options for the store landing right when the buyers come to your store, what they're able to see. If we get down here, we can go to featured groups, and this is where you can go and show people on your store, if you show them the featured groups, specifically what you're trying to push to sell. So in our case, if you click shop, the default here is featured in the top left. So you can see all these featured minifigs. At the moment, our minifigs are 10% off. And we also have another featured group, featured instructions. We sell instructions for 1 cent. Right now they're 20% off, so they're actually less than 1 cent if you're looking for instructions. And then down here we have parts, which are sorted by newest. So the newest added pieces will be in your store. To change this featured group, all you have to do is click Edit Items, and then a menu will pop up where you're able to change the name of the group. In this case for us it is featured minifigs because that's what we're featuring. And then you can have a little description. Ours is 10% off. You can now select and move around what pieces or parts or minifigs or gear you would like to move around in your thing. In our specific case, the order of these isn't particularly important, so it doesn't really matter. But realistically, if you're trying to sell the most of this chef, you should probably put him first so everyone sees him first. To add more pieces to this group, you can click this little Add Item button here at the bottom, and when you click that, your inventory menu will pop up. You can select what kind of item you want to add. Minifigs, specifically, we'll go to Disney, and we want to add this Elsa thing, so we'll click Add to List. Now you can see it's added, and you can click the X, and Elsa is now here in the featured group. And as follows, the same is with instructions as well as your newest items. In this case, it is newest instructions, and you can see over here we do not include these. Reason being, we have a whole instructions section above it. So we uncheck this checkbox here, and now we don't include minifigs either because we have that top section, but you can see we do include newest parts here. You don't need to include any of these, but figure why not? If people scroll down, they can see more there. Once you've saved all these changes, you can click Save Changes. Now you can see changes have successfully been saved. Click or hover over My Store and go back to your account settings. That is it for the display page here. After you do make a change on this page, you do need to be sure to click Save Changes either at the top or the bottom of your page. Next, we're going to go into the management page, and this is where you control your store specifically if it's open, closed, and settings such. In this case, our store is open, it is not closed, but if we were to close it, we are able to add a closed message. Now, BrickLink would like to know the reason for closure, so you can be working on your inventory, catching up on orders that you have too many of, or maybe you're going on vacation, or you're trying to avoid potential problems with a BrickLink update. This specifically means your inventory didn't sync right, or somewhere along the lines you're having problems with the BrickLink site itself, and this lets them know they have things to fix. You can also select Other, but in this case, we're not actually closing. But as you can see here, you also get to type a closed message. Now what we will do is, this was closed for a few days due to the COVID-19 virus, but now we are open. But if we were to click the preview button, you can see this is what buyers will see when your store is closed. And they get to see the message here and the date that it was closed on. There's also this store bypass password, and we'll show you that right now. If you click the X, it'll exit out of there. And you can see we have this bypass section or store password section. If you want to close your store but you have a few specific buyers who want to keep ordering, and maybe you're just redoing your inventory or adding pieces, but you know that they specifically want to order stuff, you can give them a specific password. And now if we type in the password as testing123, you can see that if we save these changes, let's change this selecting on working to inventory, save changes, now our store is closed. And if we go to our store page and we refresh this page, it says store closed. Now in this case, if a buyer is currently shopping, they have 20 or 30 minutes to finish placing any orders. So keep that in mind when closing your store. It actually closes 30 minutes after for those buyers who have things in their cart or who were in your store. So unfortunately, I'm not able to show you what it would be, but it would be just like this page. This would pop up and you would be able to type in testing 1 2 3 and click the unlock store button, and now that buyer is able to purchase from your store. This auto close section is something that could be important potentially. In our case, we're in here every single day, if not, well, plenty of times a day usually. But this is an option to auto close your store if you do not log into BrickLink for 60 days. Now you can change this number to whatever you want. If we ever go 60 days without logging into BrickLink, your store will most likely be closed as orders will have been placed and the seller will not have shipped. So you will likely get non-shipping seller status and not be able to sell anymore. But we have this as of right now. There are 3 of us working on our specific store, so closing this store is kind of difficult in a way. Now you can see when you click the open button before you save the changes, you can see any members who had items in your store while it was closed or before it was closed, who had items in your store in their cart. You can click this checkbox to notify those members. Now, due to the fact that my store has only been closed for 2 minutes and they still have an option to check out, there are no members to notify, but you can also make stockroom inventory available. And we'll get into stockroom when we go over inventory, but essentially stockrooms are inventory that you have in a way in the back of the store that buyers are not able to go to. So you are able to make certain stockrooms available, but essentially you can part out an entire set into stockroom A and put it in a box and put it in your attic, and no one can order it because it is in a stockroom as long as they are not available to be sold. We'll go over that more when we get into managing your inventory. This next section is the checkout section, and this is a little criteria as to what your buyers are able to buy or how much they're able to buy. In this case, we specifically have no minimum buy. Now, this is something you can set to, let's say, $3, meaning anyone who comes to your store and buys must spend $3 on Lego parts before they're able to check out. If they do not meet that minimum buy, they will not be able to check out in your store. In our case, we have 0 set to this due to the fact that we have a system in place that charges $1 for buyers who do not spend at least $1 in the store. So essentially our minimum buy is $1, even though we don't technically have an official minimum buy. Same thing here with the lot value. Your buyers need to average a lot value of, let's say, $2, meaning they must order $2 worth of specific pieces in specific lots. So this next section is the lot limit, and this is the maximum number of different lots that a buyer can buy from you. And in our case it is 0, so that there's no limit. They can buy however many lots they would like, but a specific lot is a single piece in the store. Now, not a single piece in that quantity, but a single piece that is different from other pieces. So if someone purchases 5 1x2 blue plates and someone purchases 5 1x2 red plates, there are only 2 lots there. Even though there are 10 total parts, there are only 2 different parts. And again, the bypass password is the same idea. They can type in a bypass so that they don't have any of these limits up here, and you can set that or not set that. We specifically don't have any settings up here that don't allow people to buy, so we have no bypass password. This seller protection section is for buyers who are brand new to BrickLink. So if they have 0 feedback, they've never placed an order, what you can do is click that checkbox, and then they will only be allowed to do instant checkout. And instant checkout means they have to pay for your order right away before your order is accepted. There's also backup for instant checkout. So because we do offer instant checkout on our stores, a lot of people use that. They pay right away, and then their order usually goes out within that day or before the end of the day, if not the next morning. Backup for instant checkout means that if the order cannot be placed with instant checkout, potentially due to shipping methods or different problems there, they have a backup. They are able to be invoiced, and we'll get into invoicing in another one, but we can then send them an invoice if for some reason they're not able to check out. Then they can pay their due with that invoice. Store currency, this is just your currency, so if you are in the United States, you'll probably use US dollars. If you're in the UK or Europe, you'll use different things, or if you're in, well, the UK and Europe are different, but, wherever you are, this is where you will select your currency. U.S. sales tax. This is specifically for U.S. This will be changed if you change your U.S. dollars, but in the United States at the moment we don't charge any tax, but depending on what the state is, you can add a state, and then you can add a tax rate and apply sales tax to only the pieces, or you can add shipping, additional charges, and insurance. And in this case now, all of the charges will have a 0.25% tax rate, and you can add your own notes if you would like. In this case, we don't charge sales tax, but that is something you need to do on a state-by-state basis. You are also able to change the zip code tax rate, so if you have specific zip codes that you need to charge taxes in, you can specifically add that, and the same drop-down will apply for the state. Now we're getting into the store and inventory options, and this is where it might get a little bit confusing to those of you who don't have this all specifically set up. In this store section, we have 4 options here, and these are just checkboxes that you turn on or off. In this case, this accepts quote requests. This means that the buyer is able to get a quote before they place an order. And we'll get into quotes in another video, but they're essentially able to ask a quote, and this is usually done by international sellers to understand what the shipping cost would be, or for sellers who have interesting orders, or orders that are extremely heavy or extremely light. We accept quotes because we want to get the buyer the cheapest price possible. So if a shipping quote is coming back to them as $12 when they're trying to do instant checkout, but they only have 2 minifigs or something in their store, then if they ask for a quote, we can give them a quote and say, no, shipping's only $3.94. And then we can clear that up for them, and then they can place the purchase through that quote. Now you do have this option here, disallow members with negative feedback score to buy from my store. This means someone who has negative feedback is not able to buy from your store. In our case, we do allow buyers with negative feedback to buy or buy from our store, though this should probably be checked and we should not allow them to. This is for buyers who, placed an order and canceled the order with the seller, and maybe got a refund and the pieces, or did something to make the seller, who usually don't give negative feedback too often, but this buyer made the seller give negative feedback. We cannot show the weight in your store's shopping cart even if the buyer has selected to show it. In our case, we don't show this due to shipping reasons and our prices for shipping. We'll get into that later with shipping as well, but automatically email me a copy of instant invoices. This is something we have right now, where if they ask for an invoice, it'll send them an invoice and then they'll pay it. We have an automatically email us. We're probably going to turn this off because we do get quite a few emails, but we'll see. At the moment it is checked and we have that on. Here in the inventory section, this kind of has to do with while you are putting pieces into your store. This enable my cost field or input field is an option that adds one more box when you're adding a piece to your inventory. In this piece, you're able to say, this piece cost me 4 cents when I bought it, and now I'm selling it for 6 cents, so later down the road you're easily able to determine what your cost of goods is sold, that you have sold, because you know exactly how much that specific piece cost you. Now, it's hard to do this because when you have lots mixed together, some pieces cost more or less than other pieces, even if it's the same exact piece, when you put it inside of your inventory due to it coming out of different sets, or a pick-a-brick cup, or whatever it is. So you're able to input this cost or enable this cost field, and that helps you track expenses. We have ours turned on at the moment. This enable my weight and package info on each item for sale allows you to change the custom weight and packaging info on any specific piece in your inventory. We don't do this because we don't have time. We're not going to go weigh each piece and stuff. Whatever inventory or, not inventory, but whatever data BrickLink has will be accurate enough to get a seller a shipping quote, and if it's not, it is on our seller side and we'll fix that problem. Now, this enabling multiple stock rooms is what I briefly mentioned earlier about having different rooms that you are able to put pieces in and import inventory into without buyers being able to see that and buy that or add it to their cart. So we do enable these so that we're able to store pieces in there for specific reasons. Now, enabling a price guide link allows you to view price guides when you're in your inventory as to how that piece has been sold over the past 6 months, or how many are listed at the moment, how many have sold, and prices and all that stuff. So we do have this price guide link that we do use, and it allows you to click that, and a little pop-up will pop up that'll tell you everything you need to know about that specific piece. And that helps to add stuff into your to store and make sure it's priced properly. This is a checkbox we recently turned on, so this is turned off by default. Show date last sold. Now, this is a really fun thing and interesting to see because you're able to look through your inventory and understand if your pieces are selling and what pieces are selling. So, showing the last date sold tells us that this 2x2 dark bluish gray brick was sold yesterday, or this 1x4 dark turquoise or some weird piece hasn't sold ever. So this is an interesting field you can see, and you can help track your inventory a little bit better. And we have an auto delete 0 quantity stockroom items after blank days of moving it to the stockroom. In our case, we don't retain any items that are sold. So once the quantity hits 0, it is removed from our inventory, so this isn't related to us. And I'll show you more about how to retain items after they've been sold, or more like that. Now the last section here in this management tab is an affiliation link, and this section, and this just allows you to share your data in your inventory with certain things. Brickable or Rebrickable can directly add my store things to their shopping cart, and you get another slogan there as well, or a tagline. And then you can allow BrickLink to harvest your images, meaning if you upload an image for a certain piece, BrickLink is allowed to use that piece. In my opinion, we're contributing to the community here, so we have all those turned on. Now next we're going to go here to let me click Save Changes real quick, but then we will go to our Terms page. And this is the page where you can edit your terms and conditions like we saw earlier here on your BrickLink store. So if you scroll through here, these are all of our terms and conditions. We have payment, returns, insurance, and then of course your shipping policy and international, and where you ship to and stuff like that. So going back here, you're able to type into here and specifically format, depending how you would like to, all these different options. Now you can add tables, photos, emojis, and of course bold and italicize and underline, as well as strike through all your different text you have here. So these are kind of the terms people will read before they purchase from your store. Now not everyone reads these, but it is helpful to have them on your store. There's also the Preview Terms and Conditions button where you can look at what it'll look like on that front page of your store. And that is a little bit more helpful if you're in the source code here. So if you know HTML, you can click that, click the OK prompt, and then it can show you the code. Now it's a little bit easier to click Preview, and then you'll see exactly what your store looks like from there. Scroll down below that, you can see the shipping policy has moved recently to the shipping section. And again, we'll get into shipping in another video because that is a whole monster on its own. Next is the splash page, where you can see this, like I said, is where we have our buyers go to the store. Now specifically, you're able to either turn it off or externally host it, or, as we do, we have a customized splash page here. Now as you saw, ours was a little bit ruined, but it's pretty close. So it's got the general idea to it. I need to fix it though. But if we go back here, you can see we have a splash page here, and at the moment it is untitled, but if you click this, or you add a splash page if you don't have any, and then click it or get into here, you'll get into the same section just like you had for the terms page. You can adjust everything in here with your titles, make it different sizes and stuff, or like I said, you can go into the source code and agree and then have everything here. Again, there's a preview button here for the splash page to check it out what it looks like before you edit. Now, like I said, we're going to skip the shipping section. That is going to be a whole another video, but next we'll go to the payment section. Now, this payment section changes what you are able to accept as payments. In this specific case, we have a merchant ID that PayPal hooks you up with, and they'll give that to you, and you're able to connect your PayPal account through this. In our case, we could click disconnect, and I'd show you how to go through it, but it's very self-explanatory. Essentially, what you'll do is click the connect button, sign into your PayPal, and everything will be set up. You can see you're able to leave notes for domestic buyers and international buyers. So usually what we could do is say thank you or something, but that is all sent in the invoice as well as the drive-through message later. So in this case, we don't have any note for buyers, but you can put a special note in there and separate it for domestic or international if you would like to do so. PayPal micropayments accounts are pretty great if you're getting a lot of small orders. You're able to add a PayPal micropayments account which takes a different fee than the normal PayPal. I think it takes 5%, but it only charges 5 cents per transaction. So if you're getting a transaction of $2 and they take 5 cents and then 5%, that is better than them taking 30 cents and 3%. So that's an option. If you have a micropayments account, you can add that as well. And you'll even be able to set up at what level or what dollar amount your order is that they go to the micropayments account or they go to your normal PayPal account. If you would like, you're able to set up your credit and debit card with Stripe, and you can sign into an account there or create an account there, and then you can accept credit cards from your buyers. They do offer a fee, as does PayPal, to process your card information. Now, in this case, we have most of our payment methods on site. That is the instant checkout that the buyers can do directly through you. But in this case, we do have an off-site payment method, which is PayPal, clearly. And what you're able to do here is they can then PayPal you the money. In our case, we have a message set up or an invoice set up that sends them a link that they can click if they are invoiced for their order, and then they can click that link and it'll send them the amount that they were invoiced for through our PayPal, and that's just in case they get confused with the BrickLink system. So this is technically an off-site payment, though it is still through PayPal and the same account tracking the same BrickLink order number, so it is all still hooked up even though it is technically an off-site payment method. We don't accept anything at the moment besides PayPal. You can set up other ones, though these are a little more dangerous and not necessarily protected by BrickLink on their site. You can also change the accepted currencies. In our case, we only accept US dollar, but you can add accepted currencies if you would like to take multiple here. Now, the last section we're going to get to really quickly, which isn't too bad because this video is getting a little bit long, is the message templates. And if you click the message templates, you'll see that it brings us to this page, which has a ton of different things on it. What we're able to do here is when you send a buyer a coupon, you can edit what that thing says. So in this case, it says "Dear," and then this is HTML. If you want to learn that, you can just Google HTML learning or micro tags in this case as well. And here, you can type your message. In this case, it says, "Thank you for your order. We have issued you a coupon for 5% off your items for the next 60 days. The more you spend, the more you save." And you type whatever your message is there, and then it gives them the coupon code. And then this means there's a break there. And then, "Thank you so much. Please come back again." And then it has our seller name as well as our store information there. And then if you want to learn more about micro tags, you can click that here. Click basic micro tags or conditional micro tags. And you have a lot of options to do there. And this is the same for everything in terms of all your message templates. It's not just this one. You can click, purchase confirmation. And in this case, it sends this and it shows all the things here. So you can go customize all of these message templates. And we do have quite a few of these customized. Something great to customize is your thank you and your drive-through order. So you can click edit, and then you're able to change, hello again. I've been meaning to remove that for quite some time. But you can change all this stuff here, added today's date, should be reaching you in 3 to 5 business days. And for international sellers, I change those dates all the time. But this is essentially just a default message that'll send to your buyer and makes them happy when they receive the drive-through to know that their order has been shipped. And again, like I said, you have plenty of options here in the message templates. That is going to be it for the store settings today, or your account settings under the My Store tab. Like I said, we'll have another video specifically on all of these shipping settings in here because that is a colossal menu on its own. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and think about doing so. And if you enjoyed this video, and if you're still here at the end, thank you so much. Go ahead and click that like button. Like I said, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one, in the next video, which actually comes out this Sunday. It's another Brickside chat, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer those this weekend.